welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry. So where I last left off, it's a pretty straightforward bit of a recap. Um, Anji has some trouble falling asleep, so with Maria appearing, she gave her the idea of, hey, why don't you summon the sisters of this seven stakes of the Purgatory Sisters, but at a very one at a time of the sort. I don't know how you call it. But so far, Anji was able to summon 5 out of the 7, which is pretty surprising considering her levels of magical power is pretty, it's at a basic level of the sort. But because she's so tired, it got to the point she passed out. So, who knows if Anji is still safe or not. She is with Amakusa. Anyway, let's continue. That's right. Just once in the past, I underwent training in order to step into the world of witches. I accepted that the only power that could save me from those sad, painful days at St. Lucia Academy was the thing called magic, and I received from Maria's introduction to the basics.
広大な空間をイメージ。峠のドライブインから麓を見下ろした時の風景。こう。
I projected that scene from a memory into my mental world. Normal girls get over their fascination with magical girls when they leave elementary school. So seriously training to use magic at this age was embarrassing even for me. But even that embarrassed feeling felt pleasant to me now. Right then, I was learning mental concentration from Maria Onechan in order to use magic. But it wasn't going very well. It was about as hopeless as teaching a person to wiggle their ears by showing them, and expecting to learn anything at all from their demonstration. It seems that you need to imagine a vast space to gain the mental concentration for using magic. So I remembered the time from my younger days when my family had gone on a small vacation, when I had looked down towards the base from a viewing platform at a rest stop on a peak, and I tried painting this scene in my mental world.
まだまだ狭い。
Still far too small?
もっともっと広い空間をイメージして。そして、エンジェだけの新象世界を作り上げるの。
It depends on how much of you need a much wider space. You need like a freaking nightlife above the city or something?
まだまだイメージが霞んでる。空気に温度もないし、風もない。匂いもない。
No temperature in the air, no wind, no smell.
まだまだ世界が希薄。それらは後でもいいから、今はとにかくもっと広い世界をイメージして。
And even wider, so the wider the space, the lesser the difficulty.
ウリュウ、どうして広い空間のイメージが必要なの？
That's a good question.
人間の体内には生まれながらにして魔法を妨げる毒素があるんだよ。その毒素を浄化しないと魔法はうまく使えないの。そのために有効な方法の一つが広大な空間をイメージすることなんだよ。さっきは飛行機の窓から見た世界を思い描いたけど、それもダメだったわ。もっと広大な世界なんて見当もつかない。
Oh, yes, you can.
なら、マリアの持つ広大な世界をエンジェにも教えてあげればいいよ。そしたら、エンジェにもイメージがしやすくなるんじゃない？
Well, Anji's just gotta show. I mean, what am I saying? Maria has to show Anji what her vast world looks like, and then maybe Anji can probably follow her footsteps.
うりゅう。そうね。私もお姉ちゃんはどんな世界をイメージして魔法を使ってるのか興味があるわ。私もそれを参考にする。おお、ダメだよ。
Doesn't work?
心象世界は広大で、そして孤独じゃないといけないの。自分以外に一切遮るものがない世界。だから、その世界を人に教えたら、その世界は孤独ではなくなってしまう。だから、心象世界は誰にも明かしちゃダメなの。だからエンジェも、上手に心象世界を描けたら、それは自分だけの秘密の世界にするんだよ。
You drop a good. You must keep it as a secret. So if the secret is revealed, then it cause a weakness.
うりゅう。マリアケチンボ。
Wouldn't the secret be between Maria and Anji anyway?
ありがとう、サク太郎。修行に近道なしってわけだわ。努力してみる。大丈夫。ヒントは十分もらえてるわ。ウリュウ、エンジェ、頑張れ。
Until recently, I thought there was no way something like magic could save me. After all, magic doesn't exist in this world. That kind of thing is supposedly nothing more than an illusion. A delusion, a daydream. However, Maria One-chan showed me that she could fill her own world with happiness using a power that's impossible for me. I used to look down on that happiness as something empty. Because I didn't believe in magic, I also denied everything else, refusing to believe in the happiness that magic gave birth to. Interesting. Gave birth to. But slowly, bit by bit, Maria One-chan's world grew happier. In the past, I disparaged it, or disparaged it. I don't know how you go by. Thinking it too pitiful to look at. But that might have been nothing more than jealousy. I was forced to admit that. And now, this was my first step in my search for happiness. A vast space. A dry wind that could blow without being blocked by anything. Let me feel that wind blowing through my own hair. I see. Even the ground might get in my way as I am now. Then I don't need a ground. Brush the ground away. Downwards, downwards. In other words, it was as though I had floated up, leaving the ground far behind. After pushing the ground further and further downwards, the ground grew foggy and faint, and for the first time it began to feel like the sky. Then I understood its vastness. In that instant, I felt the vivid wind go right through even my body. In other words, blowing through me without any resistance. そう。その感覚を維持して。 What? So we're just floating up in the air?
ええ、わかる。すべての妨げから解放されてるのがわかる。やったエンジェ！やったエンジェ！魔女の世界への最初の第一歩を踏み出した。これが魔女の世界。うん。じゃあ エンジェがずっと望んできた魔法を練習してみよう。お友達を呼び出す魔法。エンジェを寂しさから救い出してくれる味方を作り、それによって幸せになる魔法を。
Magic that create allies.
エンジェにも僕みたいなお友達が呼び出せるの？うりうりゅ今のエンジェには、ゼロの海からサクタロほどの友達を呼び出すには、まだまだ早いね。
I don't know about summoning friends though.
最初は、呼び出しやすい友達から練習しよう。
Wait. You mean to tell me that. Wait, Ange's dreaming, right? I thought. That's weird. Why is Ange in the fucking St. Lucia Academy uniform? It confuses me.
最初は何を？
Oh, wait.
エンジェは、マリアージュ・ソルシエールの魔女だから。同盟の魔女が刺激する存在は、エンジェもまた刺激することが許されてる。例えば、サク太郎は私の友達だけど、同じ同盟のエンジェにとっても友達で、そして召喚することができる。今度、試しにサク太郎を呼び出してみて。寂しくて辛い時、サク太郎がきっと元気づけてくれるよ。
I see. You could call Sakutaro being employed by One-chan. So, as a witch in the same alliance as her, it's possible for me to summon Sakutaro too. I met Sakutaro's gaze. How pleasant it would be to have him just be there by my pillow, so he could talk to me a bit on lonely nights.
私が呼びかけたら、あなたは現れて話し相手になってくれる？うりゅう！エンジェが呼び出してくれるのを楽しみにしてる！うりゅうりゅうりゅう！
Looking happy, Sakutaro pressed his head against me like a cat. Suddenly getting a cute younger brother felt a bit confusing, a bit embarrassing and a bit nice. Unable to understand why I couldn't honestly accept this feeling, I felt tears well up in my eyes.
お姉ちゃん、私頑張るわ。じゃあ、練習をしてみよう。同じ同盟の魔女、ベアトリーチェの家具を呼び出してみよう。ベアトリーチェの家具。
Kagu. Hearing Beatrice's name gave me a slightly strange feeling. When it came to the crime on Rokujima, the public kept going on in a frenzy about how it was a sacrifice ceremony performed by a witch. And that witch was Beatrice. So if the witch did commit that crime, that would make her the culprit who stole my family from me. However, Maria One-chan said that Beatrice was a good witch. If I held negative emotions towards Beatrice, she'd get mad, leading to a nasty fight and refuse to talk for a while. At this moment, One-chan was my only close friend, so to avoid worsening her mood, I decided to think of Beatrice as nothing more than One-chan's magic teacher. Also, I believed that the crime was a conspiracy cooked up by Aunt Eva. I would definitely expose the truth about that someday.
エンジェ、また体内に妨げが混じってるよ。ごめんなさい。集中を欠いたわ。もう一度。
I'd expect no less from you, One-chan. You instantly noticed that I was being overcome with idle thoughts. Holy shit. Instantly noticed like a fucking psychic would do. After shaking my head just once, I reimagined the rope blowing through a vast space.
煉獄の七姉妹。 なんだか物騒な名前ね。
Nah, man, there's no time to question.
でも、とっても賑やかで楽しい子たちだよ。エンジェの新しいお友達になってくれるかもしれない。
Might have to turn up my mic a bit more. They might become your new friends, though.
まずは私が呼び出してみせるね。見てて。
Maria One-chan lifted both hands up to the level of her head and quietly unified her mind. The state I wasn't able to reach except by meditating for a long period of time, she reached in the span of a quick few breaths. Then a pale light began to gather in her palms, and one by one, the girls began to show themselves. Well, so look at that. One, two, three people. 4, 5, 6, 7 people. The way they were summoned one after another this is wild. The way they were summoned one after another in a line was a masterpiece. Incredible. Just like the illustrations in One-chan's grimoire, the 7 sisters of purgatory. The younger sisters were behind the eldest, Lucifer, who saluted One-chan.
煉獄の7姉妹、ここに。マリア卿、ご無沙汰を申し上げております。うん。久しぶりだね。みんなも元気？我ら家具は刺激されてこそ家具。久しぶりのお呼び出しを心より光栄に思います。
Ain't that interesting?
相変わらず美味しいじゃなかった。かわいい。
It's pretty weird, but that is Beelzebub after all.
私が一番。今日もふかふかプニプニしててかわいい。私にも抱かせて、私にも抱かせて。苦しい。僕は逃げないから離してみんな。こら、あんたたち！マリア卿の家具を壊す気？とにかく離れなさいよ。抱きしめるの禁止。
そう言ってるサタン姉が一番抱きしめたがってるよ。
私は別にあんなふかふかのプニプニのワフワフなんて興味ないんだから。
The look on her face says so.
こら！マリア卿とエンジェ様の御前よ。静かになさい、この愚昧ども。
They were so energetic. I was shocked by their sudden burst of activity right after they appeared. And on top of that, I was surprised that the innocent Sakutara was on such good terms with the 7 sisters.
意外。サク太郎があんな物騒な連中にこんなに可愛がられてるなんて。
Shady people. It's a little bit of a jab there.
同じ同盟の仲間たちだもん。怖くなんかないよ。
Fellow members of the same alliance.
でも万が一彼女らの機嫌を損ねちゃったら、サク太郎あっという間にやられちゃいそう。
Well, that is if the alliance gets broken apart.
大丈夫。同盟の魔女とその家具はみんな仲良しなの。だからサク太郎も安心して遊べるの。 それはもちろん、私やエンジェも同じだよ。
It was one of the paths of mariage sorcière. Mutual non-aggression and non-interference. Member witches must respect each other's magic and creations. Even the sisters, who were normally shady and belligerent, treated fellow alliance members as friends. So, to the seven sisters, Sakatara was a mutual friend. He was loved by all of them, and they were even trying to steal him away from each other. This scene as they squeezed him and loved him was a bit charming.
なるほど。マリアージュ・ソルシエールの仲間同士なのね。
At a glance, you'd think that Sakatara's casual atmosphere and the Seven Sisters' shady one would be like water and oil. It looked like they definitely wouldn't be compatible, and yet they were interacting in a friendly way like it was completely natural. If this wonderful alliance could join all the peoples of the world together, I wonder if everyone in the world would be able to become friends right away.
七姉妹のみんな、聞いて！
More or less possible.
今エンジェは魔法の修行中なの。だから、みんなの力を貸してほしいの。
かしこまりました、マリア卿。しかし、具体的には何を？
君たちを権限させる魔力を私からエンジェに移す。その状態でいつも彼女の身近にいてあげてほしいの。彼女の話し相手になったりしてあげるだけでいい。
恐れながら、エンジェ様の魔力では私たち七姉妹すべてを四六時中呼び出し続けるのは容易なことではないかと。
The oldest sister, Lucifer, gazed at my complexion as she advised us, speaking reservedly. In other words, she was saying that the burden might be heavy for me at this point in time.
そういう修行なの。エンジェはみんなが想像しているより才能と魔力があるよ。ちょっぴり辛いかなとは思うけど、今のエンジェなら挑戦する価値はあると思う。エンジェ、今から彼女たちを権限させる魔力を君に切り替える。つまり、エンジェが呼び出したのと同じ状態になるの。
So what Maria One-chan was trying to say was something like this. To keep the Seven Sisters materialized, you are continuously burdened with a significant amount of magical power. Maybe you could say it was like training while wearing a weighted wristband. I always thought it was going to be, I thought it was kind of a comparison to training wheels, but sure.
無理よ。七姉妹全員はかなり大変。
Would be pretty tough.
エンジェ、いきなりは厳しくない？ありがとう、サク太郎。でも、魔女になるための修行だしね。やれるところまでやってみるわ。
The seven of them certainly do seem boisterous. But even if this is for training, having them with me will surely distract me from my loneliness at least a little. I understood it would be an ordeal, but wanted to give it a shot.
もしも辛かったら無理をしないでね。みんなもエンジェが辛そうだったら加減してあげて。
かしこまりました。わかったね、あんたたち。は
ーい、お姉様。
それではエンジェ様。
It is confirmed.
これより我ら煉獄の七姉妹はエンジェ様の家具となります。マリア卿、お願いいたします。
The look on Mammon's face.
じゃあ、エンジェ。始めてもいい？
いいわ。ちょっと緊張する。
ウリュウ。いきなりは辛いかも。頭痛になりそうだったら、すぐに魔力を減らしてね。じゃあ、魔力ソースをエンジェに移すよ。
In an instant, the inside of my head felt very heavy. This is, yeah, it's tough. Until then, the inside of my head had only been used for myself. It was almost like it was now being used for 7 other people. If they just stood there and blinked once or let out a single sigh, that would put a strong pressure on my head.
マリア卿。恐れながら、やはり一度に7姉妹全員の負荷は重すぎるかと。大丈夫。
Nah, if you're gonna temporarily be powerful, that's just getting a headache is the one small step.
やっぱりダメかな。
It's kind of like the meme from the Akira movie.
権限に全勢力を使っちゃってる。日常生活と両立できないほどの負荷じゃ意味がない。何しろ魔女としてこれじゃあちょっと優雅じゃないね。ウリュウ、だからいきなりこんなに大勢は無理だって言った。みんな少し姿を消してあげて。
そうね。人数を減らした方が良さそう。アスモ、姿を消しなさい。
また私？末っ子いじめ反対！たまには上から消えてよ。
それじゃあ私が2番目に消えなきゃならないじゃない。
やだやだや
アスモもレビアネーも騒がないの。そういう騒ぎが余計エンジェ様の負担になるのよ。あんたが騒ぐのも負担になるのよ、バカサタン。
Now the amount of energetic ruckus is even giving her a migraine. Alright, I'll be right back.
A few moments later.
Alright, we are back. So while I paused recording, there was some background interruption that I had to wait the next day of the sort. So, we're back here. There wasn't really anything important. So, Ange passed out in her sleep, and now she is now practicing her magic. Although it's more it feels like more of an endurance test if you think about it, because Maria's transferring her magic power level to Ange just so she can practice on of controlling the Seven Sisters. But apparently, because the Seven Sisters were arguing each other, she's now getting a migraine. I ain't gonna elaborate this any further. Oh boy. The Seven Sisters started arguing over who should erase themselves first. The energy from that fight all became a burden, forcing Ange to bear an even greater headache. In the end, they decided the order was rock, paper, scissors, and 1, two, three of them disappeared. But even at that level, Anji was still far from comfortable. In the end, once six of them had erased themselves, I was finally able to calm my breathing. With my magical power, forget the seven sisters, just one person is my limit.
ああ、これじゃあ7姉妹じゃなくて、私一人じゃないですか。
Sheesh, she can only control one of the seven?
エンジェ様、ちょっと頼りないです。
Well, it's not her fault that she is within training. Mammon, who had won all of the rock, paper, scissors matches and was permitted to remain until the end, grumbled.
ウリュウ。マモン、そんなこと言っちゃダメ。エンジェはまだまだ修行中。大丈夫エンジェ。頭痛、大丈夫？
Sakutaro stretched up on his tiptoes, trying to pat Anji's head. Watching this, Maria scratched her head, acknowledging that this sudden training had been too difficult.
おー、
She's like,
ちょっと荒行すぎたかな。
is this like some sort of endurance training, or is this supposed to be like how does training the levels of which have to like start from the highest level?
マリア、これくらいなら全然平気だけど。友達いっぱいいればいるほど楽しいし。
お姉ちゃんの凄さを改めて思い知るわ。
Apparently, when one reaches Maria One-chan's class, one can summon enough people to perform in an orchestra. For a witch apprentice, that's awe-inspiring.
大丈夫ですか？エンジェ様。ごめんなさいね。私にはあなた一人を呼び出すのがやっとみたい。まあ、私はこれでもいいかな。だって、7姉妹で私だけがエンジェ様の家具を独り占めだし。いかがですか、エンジェ様？
Interesting look on your face.
私一人なら不可にはなりませんか？ええ、あなた一人ならなんとかね。よかったー。なら、いっぱい修行して、いっぱい魔力を養ってください。そして、いつかきっと7姉妹で、揃ってお仕えさせてください。約束ですよ。
After confirming that, for the time being, her own materialization wasn't causing any issues, Mammon immediately became cheery again and tried to make me promise to work harder. I see. That definitely fits with her being greed. But maybe you could also call it having a positive attitude.
約束するわ。そのくらいはいつかできなくちゃね。ありがとう、エンジェ様。この強欲のマモン、その日まで必ずエンジェ様にお仕えします。
My headache finally abated, and I relaxed both hands, which had been clutching at my head. Then Mammon stuck out her hand, helping me stand back up.
ウリュウ。あ、マリア、エンジ、もうこんな時間だよ。もう部屋に戻らないと叱られる。
To the room? What do you mean? Wait, what? Where the fuck are we at? I hadn't expected Sakutaro to talk about the time. I was brought back into reality. As though the light had disappeared, the vast world sunk into the darkness, and I was in a tiny, tiny bathroom stall, sitting on a toilet. One-chan's grimoire was open on my lap. I looked at the clock. It was almost 2000 hours. Time for lights out. If I show up late for the roll call before lights out, not only will things get pretty annoying, but it'll cause trouble for my roommates and floor mates. I couldn't care less about causing them trouble, but I don't want them messing with me later. Uh, my free time by myself is already over for today. I'll sleep, wake up. Tomorrow will begin, and another long, long gray colored day will repeat again. I closed the grimoire and rose from the toilet seat. At that time, One-chan appeared again and spoke.
ほら、エンジェ。修行を忘れてるよ。マモンを連れて行って。
I'm gonna take Mammon. I'd forgotten. The moment I returned to reality, Mammon's materialization had stopped. One more time, I created a strong image of the existence of Mammon in my mind.
もう、エンジ様ったらひどいです。
Well, it's not. Look, I, the reality can be a big interruption.
いきなり私を消すなんて。そんなんじゃ、七姉妹を全員呼ぶなんて、なかなかできませんよ。
Well, it's not my fault reality is becoming like a huge interruption.
ごめんなさい。うっかりしてたわ。人間界に権限するのはすごい久しぶりなので、何から何まで興味深いです。ちょっぴりワクワクしてます。ここはどこですか？聖ルチーア学園の寮。ここはその共用トイレの個室。各部屋にトイレはあるから、ここには誰も来ない。
Each room has its own bathroom? Well, interesting.
静かで本を読むにはちょうどいいの。ここの寮は本を読むにもトイレの個室に隠れなきゃならないの？文書でもやってるんですか？
I wouldn't be surprised. No words. I have a two-person room, so my roommate is always there. Our relationship is gloomy and it feels like I'm always getting ignored. The atmosphere is bad, so I really can't relax there. And as long as I'm not there, she can do what she likes. Call her friends over and chat away. It's more convenient for them too if I don't return until just before lights out. There's also a library, but there's a group that uses it as a meeting place. And they're always talking behind my back. So I don't like to go there. During lunch, it's the bushes behind the school building. During the night, it's the stall in the shared bathroom in the dorms. Those are the only hideaways where I can find peace. I opened the door to the stall and went out. I turned around, signaling with my eyes for Mammoth to come with me.
よくわからないけれど、エンジ様にとってとても快適とは言い難い場所だってことが分かったわ。
No shit.
早く表に出ましょう。ここの空気、嫌い。
Well, it's a fucking bathroom. Of course it's good. Of course the air is bad.
そう。ここの空気が一番まともなんだけどね。
When I left the bathroom and entered the corridor, because it was near lights out time, several kids who had gone to play in other rooms were dashing back to their own. When it came time for lights out, we had to change into uniform pajamas that we hated, called prison clothes, line up in the hallway and go through the dorm leader's roll call. The prison clothes? Is this always like that in boarding schools nowadays? Because it looks like because apparently when I did some research on googling on boarding schools, because here's the thing though, right? I've been growing up with like public school education, so I don't. It's more like a public thing, obviously. But boarding, I don't know about boarding schools. The only time I heard about boarding schools is like it's like a private school system, and it's like mainly for fucking rich people or like shitty fucking parents who like, you know, like draft their kids out just to be just to make them suffer or something. Or maybe it's because boarding schools are just for fucking rich people. I don't know. but that's 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 as far as I can remember. But, you know, but I did, hear that maybe like I'm pretty sure both sides when it comes to schools are fucking have students that can be a bit psychotic anyway. And go through the dorm leader's roll call. On the off chance that someone was late, we would take collective responsibility, and all of the floor mates would have to undergo punishment in the form of volunteer work. As long as I avoided this, the girls would look at me coldly, but they wouldn't get in my way. That alone was enough for me. Mammon looked at the passing kids and the furnishings of the dorm with interest. Without paying her any particular attention, I hurried back to my room. In front of my room was my roommate, who had already changed into her prison clothes, chatting with some kids from the room next door. Prison clothes. That's pretty funny. When they noticed me hurrying back, the topic of their conversation noticeably changed. They lowered their voices, stealing glances at me. I acted like I didn't notice, went into my room and changed. Then I hastily went out into the corridor. Everyone was already lined up.
何これおかしい。
Yeah, it is weird.
ここってお嬢様学校じゃないの？刑務所みたい。バカみたい。やっぱりそうよね。私もそう思ってるわ。刑務所よりさらに厳しい点は、素行が良くても刑期が短くならない点かしら。
So, not only this St. Lucia Academy is a boarding school for rich, preppy girls, but it's also for prison too. Maybe that's the reason why parents ship out their fucking ship like. No wonder they dropped into that school. It's either shitty as rich girls or just normal rich, or just they want ones that want to live a normal life, but at the same time the rich parents are being fucking assholes. After bad-mouthing the place, I noticed something. Having someone to listen to your complaints feels surprisingly good. Fortunately, Mammon's form can only be seen by her summoner, me, and of course there was no need to speak out loud for this conversation. All I had to do was speak inside my mind so no one could listen in. Magic and the friends it creates might actually not be so bad.
こいつら、揃いも揃ってもやしみたい。生きてないって感じ。やめなさいよ。毎日姿を見られたら大変よ。
Yeah, but
夢も希望もかけらほどもない人間なんて、半魔法の塊だもの。私の姿なんて、絶対に見えるわけがない。
true.
見ることもできない、下等生物どもが。あなたは、その半魔法の毒素を持つ人間たちが、これほどいる中でも平気なの？エンジ様が、私を権限させてくださる限りは平気です。ただ、私を権限するために、常に集中しなければならないでしょうから、日常生活がおろそかになる可能性がありますよ。
Why not do both? I mean, there's a thing called multitasking.
ほら、同室の子に呼ばれてません？あ。後ろ宮さん、聞こえてる？来週からの終盤なんだけどさ、ちょっと相談があって。
She's probably trying to push a few more chores onto me. My roommate, who never even looked me in the eye normally, was smiling at me unpleasantly. But it'll be easier to have the weekly duty pushed onto me alone rather than doing it together with her. That's a small price to pay to have her continue to ignore me nonstop. Even so, with a completely shameless excuse, she sidestepped the issue for some reason and insisted on flipping the situation around as though I should have come forward and done it of my own initiative. Initiative. One of the special traits of this academy is that it's full of girls who don't know how to ask a favor.
何この子。むかつくー。眉間に思いっきり私の杭をねじ込んでやりたい。そうね。ぜひ今度お願いするわ。
No words. Yeah. Having a friend nearby all the time to complain to makes me happier than I thought it would. It really was lively with all the 7 sisters gathered together. I'm sure just watching them mess around will be a lot of fun. I want to gain enough magical power to summon all the 7 sisters at once, and soon. And then I'll keep training, more and more and more, and finally summon the thing I really want to find.
エンジ様が本当に召喚したいものって何ですか？
Madman noticed my conversation with myself inside my head and asked about it blankly. I hesitated to talk about it, but then figured that there was no reason to hide it and told her.
家族よ。お父さん、お母さん、お兄ちゃん。それってつまり死者の魂？異界の住人を呼び出すのは召喚だけど、死者の魂を呼び戻すのは反言で、それは全くの別物。反言はかなりの大魔法のはずですよ。
Yeah, well, anything can be possible. I know. So much so that even Maria One-chan can't do it at all. But that's the thing I want to find with magic the most. I've been warned that it's a very difficult high-level magic, so great that, in the worst case, I might not necessarily reach that point even after training for my whole life. Furthermore, I have no vessel. A vessel is vital for making magic succeed, whether it's summoning or resurrection. Because I don't have that, a magic that would already have been difficult is now hopeless. That's right. I have nothing to remember Dad or Mom by. However, by an extraordinary coincidence, I do have something to remember just Oni-chan by. And that's this.
そのピンクの玉の頭飾り？何それ？言っちゃ悪いけど、エンジェ様にはちょっと安物っぽい。昔、お父さんに内緒で、お母さんと一緒にお兄ちゃんに会って、遊園地に遊びに行ったことがあるの。そこのクレーンゲームの景品。
I know it's cheap. I realize that it doesn't match my style, and I get that it's too childish. But this hair accessory is the only thing that makes me feel as though Battler Oni-chan is by my side. The glass case had been filled with plastic capsules packed with fun-looking things. It seemed that each capsule had some cute accessory in it. The game was to grab those with the crane, but I was young and it was too hard for me. I tried it several times, but I didn't even get close. Mom said that whatever was inside was probably cheap anyway, and we didn't even know what we'd get. So there was no point in getting all upset over it. There's the phone in the background. I really don't care, honestly. There was no point in getting all upset over it. But whether it was something cheap or not wasn't the problem. The process of grabbing happiness with my own hands felt really important and scared to me. And sacred to me. I'm sorry. So I wanted the cheap thing inside more than anything. Really? Is that so? So she wanted to get something... That's interesting. Then, Battler Oni-chan came over after finishing a game of shooting soldiers with a gun, and tried to do it for me. With his arms that were longer than mine, Oni-chan grasped the happiness that I couldn't reach. Oni-chan really was coordinated. It seems he often played with his friends at the arcades. After only 1 or 2 attempts, he grasped that thing on the other side of the glass with a crane that I hadn't even been able to touch, and threw it into the exit chute. When Oni-chan tossed me that capsule, I remembered that he looked very, very reliable. For several days, I felt like opening the capsule would be a waste. Then one day, I finally opened it up. And what revealed itself inside was this pink jeweled hair accessory. Since that day, it's been a symbol for Oni-chan. Since I was young, I felt that having all four of us gathered, including Badler Oni-chan, was a precondition for a happy family. So I wanted Oni-chan and Dad to make up quickly. In my own way, I treated this hair accessory as a charm for bringing my whole family together. So I always used to wear it. I wanted to feel my reliable, fun, and wonderful Oni-chan by my side all the time, and let him live in our house.
でも、お兄ちゃんの記憶はあまりに遠い。マリアお姉ちゃんがライオンのぬいぐるみからサクタラを生み出したようには簡単にできない。私は死者の魂を蘇らせる大魔法をいつか必ず身につける。
I always thought having a vessel of reviving someone from the dead tends to be like increases the chances of that sort of magic to succeed. Like a vessel as in like, you know, what was the word? I don't know. Created from a lion stuffed animal. One day I'll surely possess the high-level magic to revive the souls of the dead.
そして、それを成功させられる唯一の鍵が、よりしろがこれなの。
なるほど。その頭飾りにものすごい魔力を感じてたけど、そういうわけなのね。
魔力？お兄ちゃんのこれに魔力が宿ってるの？
There's magical power? I didn't even know that's a thing. I thought it's just some cheap object to put on your hair.
エンジェ様が宿らせていると言うべきかもね。エンジェ様の兄を呼び出したいという強い思いが魔力を与えている。確かに反言は大魔法だけど、エンジェ様はその魔法のために無意識のうちに着実に階段を登っているのは間違いない。
Yeah, you're just one step towards the mountain. The very top.
嬉しいわ。私以外の人にそれを認めてもらえるのは。
Your own effort isn't something you can observe by yourself. In that sense, even though these words came from a shady demon girl who controls one of the 7 deadly sins, they made me very happy.
反言の魔法に至るのと寿命を全うするのとどっちが早いかだけは私には保証できないけれども、でも挑む山の高さが高ければ高いほど魔女としての力も比例していく。エンジェ様はくじけることがなかったなら、きっといつか私たちの元の主ベアトリーチェ様に匹敵するほどの大魔女になれると思います。
なれるかしら。大魔女になってお兄ちゃんを、家族を蘇らせることができるかしら。
Oh boy.
反言の魔女、エンジェ教。
The Witch of Resurrection, Lady Ange. Ange Beatrice. Wonder if I can become a great witch.
素敵！反言の魔女はかなりレアな魔女です。そんな魔女がご主人様なんてちょっと鼻が高いです。っていうかむしろそうなってほしいものです。
The Witch of Resurrection, the ultimate counterpart to rival against all witches within that certain various verse of the sword.
家具の価値も主の格に比例しますので。もうベアトリーチェ様さえ抜いちゃって、天下無双の大魔女になってくださいね。煉獄の七姉妹を代表して心より応援申し上げます。
I thought that if a magical friend were to appear for me too, a cute kid like Sakutaro would be best. But even this fifth sister of the shady seven sisters who controlled the seven deadly sins was enough to calm my heart so much all by herself. Maria One-chan has probably known death since long ago. That's why she recommended the World of Witches to me over and over and over again. And I kept on stubbornly rejecting her. I should have given in and started my training as a witch sooner. A year for a child was worth 10 years for an old person, right? Now I find my past self, which only ever complained, deplorable for wasting my precious time. Long after I turned off the lights and slipped into bed, Mammon continued to talk to me alongside my pillow. I promise, one day for sure, I'll develop a magical power that can summon the seven sisters, and I'll let them have a lively and fun time. The seven of them make a single whole. None can be left out. Family must be together. I must bring them together. No words. My awareness began to return slowly. Unable to stand watching Aunt Rosa and Maria One-chan's relationship, I ran away from Beato's and One-chan's game, didn't I? I think that's about it. Well, I think we're at a very... Wait. If Anji's within that particular flashback, this is probably... So if we're looking at, like, Anji's, backstory of the story, I'm pretty sure Anji's dealing with the shit right now. So because Anji does not have a family, she can create the friendship by the power of magic. What happens if she didn't reject Maria very quite more often? Okay, so what happens if Anji didn't reject Maria more often than before? Well, maybe she, have more sense of positivity rather than being the negative self as the part of childhood. But, well, I'll probably reread it back at some point. So, next part, let's see what happens in the current part right here. So, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.